This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on April the 8th, 2016. Our time is 8:44. Mountain Radio Show runs on 6:30 CHED in Edmonton, Sunday afternoon at 3. And we say this on a regular basis. If you ever miss a radio show, they're archived on Harold's websites, HESradio.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. You can listen to those shows 24/7 at your convenience. We have a podcast through iTunes. All you need to do is type in the World Financial Report on Radio, and you will be podcasting with us. Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. That's 1-800-432-1022. Our featured diamond of the week, and it is a beauty. A 1.03 carat pear-cut fancy orange pink VS2 Argyle. Pear-cut, absolutely beautiful. The fact that it's over a carat makes it one of the rarest of the rare. 1.03 carat pear-cut fancy orange pink VS2 Argyle. See it at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. In the second half of the show, we'll talk about diamonds, and we have so much information in our free weekly newsletter about diamonds, outstanding articles coming forward. There was a blue diamond that sold at auction for $31.8 million. We'll talk about that in the second half of the show. Do not miss the second half of the show, because we'll talk about diamonds and what a week it was. As we tape on Friday, some good news for Canada, although our jobs numbers are very irregular. We'll have a jobs report, as we do today, where Canada gained 40,600 jobs. Good news. And we went from 7.3% unemployment to 7.1%. In Alberta, we gained, they say, 19,000 jobs. Now, the problem is we turn around and in a month from now, we'll lose 40,000 jobs. That seems to be what is happening in our economy. They say with this report, good news, but be very, very cautious. Obviously, one of the big stories was the Panama Papers. We found out that it seems the world's wealthy, the world's elite, hiding more money, and the Panama Papers came out, and the Prime Minister of Iceland was forced to resign as a result of having a secret account. One of the underlying stories that was current throughout our newsletter and throughout the week, the United States and their debt problems. Not only when it comes to pensions, but the debt that they have as a country. And we will talk about that after Harold gives us his commentary. But Harold, we encourage people to get our free weekly newsletter. It's so important now to be educated. You work so hard for the money that you make. We know Albertans, people all around the world who listen to our radio show, work so hard. Now is the time. Spend 5 minutes a week. Go through our information. Keep yourself up to date. Profit, protect the money that you have. Learn about investing in hard assets with Harold. Get our free weekly newsletter, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. And Harold, that big blue diamond, $31.8 million. We'll talk about it in the second half of the show.
You better believe we will. It's some very, very exciting news in diamonds. But for most of the markets right now are a little bit confusing. People think that the gold market is getting ready to rally, but it's been trading in a range for the last few weeks, and that's not a good thing for gold. The fact is that gold made a strong rally at the beginning of the year and went from 1,050 all the way up to 1,260. So we had a 20% increase in the price of gold. It was a substantial rally. But a lot of that was to do with the fact that the U.S. dollar was coming down on a seasonal trade, number one, and number two, the fact that the Federal Reserve did not raise interest rates. So basically, I don't want anybody to misinterpret what's happening in the marketplace at this particular point and make any mistakes, because again, there's two different players in the market. There's speculators, and then there's hedgers. And the hedgers can be the banks. And the banks can wreak havoc on the markets, and that's exactly what we've seen them do in the past and what they're going to do again within the very near future. So basically, let's just take a look at the markets that we're concerned about at this particular point, so possibly I could shed some light on it for you so you don't make a mistake and jump into the market prematurely. First of all, we've been saying to get out of the Canadian dollar-based investments and get into U.S. dollar-based investments, and that turned out to be a tremendous move. My clients have made a fortune. When everybody else is suffering in the markets, my clients that converted Canadian to American are not only making 25% on their investments with us a year, but on top of that, they're making the difference in the currency. And that's a huge, big deal. In actual fact, it's been as much as 40%. So some of our investments are returning not only 25% a year, but when you factor in the currency also, it's been up, depending on when the client's invested, as much as 40 to 50% in a year. So again, we're ecstatic about that, and we believe you're going to get another opportunity to do that fairly quickly. We're very strongly recommending that you look to get out of Canadian dollars at this level. The Canadian dollar is basically at its high at this particular point, and I see the Canadian dollar falling substantially. We've seen it drop all the way down to the 68-cent level, and I think it's going to break that and drop further. Reasons for that is number one is that I believe the price of oil is going to drop substantially. Even though the past 2 days the price of oil has increased quite impressively, the fact is that there's oil being sold in the Middle East for $20 a barrel, and don't discount the fact that oil could go to 20 or 22 in that area. And if that does happen, look for the Canadian dollar to drop all the way down to about 62 cents. That's a gigantic drop in the market. So if you are going to take my advice and get out of Canadian dollars and convert them to American, now is the time to do that. Because where the U.S. dollar has at one time was at par. In actual fact, that was back in December that the U.S. dollar hit just over par, which is exactly at $1. Now, I know that could be confusing, and I've had people call up about that, trying to understand what I'm talking about. The fact is that in the futures market, or in the currency markets, where the currency markets are traded, when they trade against the U.S. dollar, and most currencies trade against the U.S. dollar, the fact is they take a basket of currencies and they take an average of those currencies. It would be the euro, the Swiss franc, the Japanese yen, the Canadian dollar, the Australian currency. They take an average of this, and that's the average that they use. So when I say that the U.S. dollar is trading at 96 cents or 97 cents, that's against a basket of other currencies. Once it gets to $1, it's at par. Once it gets over $1, that's when I really believe that the U.S. dollar is going to take off and run. And I believe the U.S. dollar is going to run all the way to 108 and 110. So at this particular point, with the U.S. dollar trading at about 93 to 94 cents, I'm saying to buy the U.S. dollar at this particular point. It's going to make you an awful lot of money. And if you stay in the Canadian dollar, you're just going to lose your money. So the fact is that we want you to convert Canadian dollars, even though you're going to lose money initially, but the idea is to invest in the right markets with us, and not only will you look to do extremely well on our investments, but on top of that, the currency could make you a literal fortune. So here's what I'm seeing in the markets at this particular point. The U.S. dollar is going to rally and rally strong, and the reason for that is that other currencies in the marketplace right now are extremely negative. In actual fact, what I see is the Commitment of Traders report. Most people don't pay attention to it or understand what it is, but it tells you who's long and short the market. And basically, when I see that the banks are shorting the marketplace, I take that knowledge very, very seriously. And again, we've made a ton of money based on that information in the past. So the Commitment of Traders report right now is telling me that the Canadian dollar and all other currencies are going to fall against the U.S. dollar. So now is the time to get out of Canadian and convert it to American. That's extremely important. Also, what we've seen is a huge rally in the price of gold at the beginning of the year. The price of gold at the beginning of the year was at around $1,050, and now it's trading at around $1,230. It's been as high as $1,260. But the market has been lethargic, and it's been trading in a range. And if you look at the commitment of traders report right now, you're going to see a massive short position building in gold. Now, when the banks start to put this position on, it's for a particular reason. They're going to force the gold market lower, and that's going to happen fairly soon. So the fact is that one of the best trades for an aggressive trader in the futures market right now is to go short the gold market. I think gold's going to go back down to 1,000, and that's a $230 move in the futures market, depending on how you trade it. Again, for those futures traders out there that want to know more about this move and would like to know how to trade it, even though I'm not trading futures for clients anymore, I will tell you what to do and give you some advice whether you're going to buy deep out of the money options or at the money options or whatever you're going to do. But again, there is a play there, and there's an opportunity to make an awful lot of money. In actual fact, some people are going to make 400% or 500% return on that money in a fairly short trade. The U.S. dollar is going to take off, even though things are not great in the United States. There's a lot of debt and a lot of money owed, and retail sales aren't great. And if you ask some of the political people now, they're saying that now's not a good time to be in the stock market. I disagree with that. You know, the fact is that the Dow is back up to 17,500 now, and even though things are not great in the United States, they're a lot better than they are every place else in the world. So the fact is that my opinion is the opposite of what these analysts are saying. I'm saying that the Dow is going to run. And I've always said that the Dow is more than likely going to go to around 20,000. But it isn't reflective, believe it or not, of the U.S. economy. I know that sounds a bit crazy. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but the fact is that we always knew that the U.S. stock market is manipulated, and we always know that the insiders that trade the stock market, who, by the way, are the only ones that are making money in stocks. Nobody, no speculators, no people that are buying long-term stocks. There's only a few stocks that are going up that are really making the Dow go up. But again, there's a lot of money coming in from overseas. It's going into the U.S. stock market. And again, even though I'm not a trader in stocks and I'm not a believer in buying stocks at this point especially, I do believe that the Dow is going to run, and it's going to run quite substantially. A lot of this could happen over the summertime when a lot of the trading is thin and there's not a lot of people around. So again, look for the U.S. dollar to run. Look for the Canadian dollar and other currencies to fall substantially. And again, if you are going to take my advice, and if you want to understand what I'm saying and how we're making money getting out of the Canadian into U.S. investments, and again, my clients are making over 25% a year, along with what the currency is making, you need to give me a call, and I'll explain to you exactly what the opportunities are and how you could take advantage of it, no matter what level. Again, you need to get into the right investments at the right time and get out of the markets that are going to hurt you. So we like the U.S. dollar. We don't like the Canadian dollar going long. We think that it's going to drop right along with the oil market, which could drop down all the way to 62 to 65 cents in that area, and that could happen fairly quickly. Also, the gold market. We feel the gold market is going to drop down and test the $1,000 level. So again, that's an aggressive move on the downside, and we know that there's a direct correlation between gold and the U.S. dollar. That means that when the U.S. dollar is strong, gold is weak. There's also a correlation between the Canadian dollar and oil, and they both go down. When oil goes down, so does the Canadian dollar. The euro is going to drop. The euro is up to 111 to 114 at this point, so it's made a fairly strong rally from 105, 106, but the euro is definitely going to drop, and I see the euro coming all the way back down to 105, maybe 102 in that area. In actual fact, this year I see the U.S. dollar overtaking the euro. So again, that's extremely important. I see the Swiss franc also coming down substantially. And along with gold, I see silver coming down. So that's what we see in the markets at this point, Randy. And again, I just don't want our listeners to our show to get the false sense of security that everything is okay. It isn't. And again, we are going to see a correction in the markets, and there is an opportunity. There's an opportunity to make an awful lot of money if you follow my advice on this Canadian-American dollar trade. And again, if you want to learn more about that, give me a call. I'll spend as much time with you as you possibly need, because again, There's not a lot of money being made in the markets right now. It appears that my company and my clients are doing extremely well because we don't trade in conventional markets. We trade in alternative assets, assets that are outside of the system, that are not manipulated by the Federal Reserve and the banks. And again, that's extremely important. However, I do know these markets fairly well. I've traded them for over 35 years. And again, we have had some tremendous trends and some tremendous winners over the past several years. And again, I see another big move coming up that I'm very, very excited about. So give us a call if you're looking to make money in these markets.
1-800-432-1022. That's the number to call, free of charge. Anything discussed, confidential. 1-800-432-1022. Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Get our free weekly newsletter. In the newsletter, technical analyst Clive Mond, and I sent this article to Harold. He did read through it. It's verifying what he has been saying. Canadians switch out of Canadian dollars into U.S. dollars now. That, according to Clive Mond. We can send that article to you in our free weekly newsletter. Take a look at our featured diamond of the week from rarecoloreddiamonds.com. It's a 1.03 carat pear cut fancy orangey pink VS2 Argyle. rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. In the second half of the show, there was a blue diamond that sold at auction for $31.8 million. There's a pink diamond that's coming up and a couple more blues for sale. We'll talk about that later in the second part of our show. Take a look at our featured diamond of the week at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And as I was saying off the top, we know Canadians, people all around the world who listen to our show via all the different sources that we're out there in. You work hard. Educate yourself. Get our free weekly newsletter. You can go through it in 5 minutes. You'll be completely up to date as to what's happening in the world financially and geopolitically. It will give you the edge when it comes to profiting and protecting the investment money that you have. As is the case, Clive Mond, Canadians switch out of Canadian dollars into U.S. dollars now. That type of article. And one of the reasons that we have been very adamant in keeping you up to date on deficits and debt in the United States and around the world, there's a huge concern about pensions and deficits there because obviously we're concerned about the short term, the medium, and the long term. And it's our thesis that in the long term, there is a day of reckoning coming for central banks, countries around the world with the monetary policy that they are purveying on all of us. The auditor in the United States, the government will owe more money than the entire economy produces. The report finds issues with reliability of government financial statements, improper payments. An auditor for the GOA told lawmakers Wednesday that in the next few years, the federal government will owe more money than their entire economy produces. Gene Dodaro, the Comptroller General of the GOA, testified at a Senate Budget Committee as a result of an audit on the government's financial books were very heavily leveraged in debt. The historical average post-World War II of how much debt was held as a percentage of gross domestic product was 43% on average. Right now, we're at 74%. He says under the current law, debt held by the public will hit a historic high, the highest in the United States government history. Held by the public as a percentage of GDP was right in 1946, right after World War II. We're on mark to hit that in the next 10, 15, 25 years. Another economic prediction, which assumes that costs controls for Medicare don't hold and healthcare costs continue to rise in the United States, shows debt rising even further and faster. These projections are going to 200 to 300% and even higher, and obviously that is very scary for the United States. Dodaro says we're going to owe more than our entire economy is producing, and by definition, this is not sustainable. But wait a minute, it even gets better. We had that story a few weeks ago. Rich countries have $78 trillion in pension problems, meaning They owe $78 trillion to promised pensions in the future. The U.S. government has a $20.4 trillion retirement problem. The U.S. government has nowhere near enough money to pay retirees. The credit rating agency Moody's says state, local, and federal governments are about $7 trillion short in funding coming payments in pensions in the short term. The unfunded liabilities of the various federal employee pension systems covering civilian and military employee benefits amount to $3.5 trillion or 20% of GDP. Additionally, Moody's estimates that unfunded state and local government pension plans liabilities are of the same magnitude, bringing the total shortfall to 40% of GDP. Moody's said also the public pensions were only one piece of the growing retirement problem in the United States. The bigger challenge for the United States comes from unfunded liabilities for Social Security and Medicare. The Social Security funding gap is estimated at $13.4 trillion, 75% of GDP, while the shortfall for the hospital insurance component of the Medicare program amounts to $3.2 trillion, or 18% of GDP. That means between the pension shortfall and the benefit shortfall, U.S. government is $20.4 trillion short in funding for retirees. The combination of these factors has led some, including Blackstone President and Chief Operating Officer Tony James, to call this sort of shortfall in the retirement funding the hidden crisis facing the United States. And if you remember when the Republicans were in New Hampshire, and they were campaigning for the New Hampshire primary, there was only one person who was talking about entitlements, reforming them, and reforming benefits, and that was the governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie. No one else was talking about it. Chris Christie is out of the race. What are the chances of that being an issue going forward? Probably slim to none. And Harold, we go on to add in our free weekly newsletter, and we have about a minute left here, Stanley Druckenmiller, Jamie Dimon, both concerned about the United States and their solvency. And with about a minute left, this is something people need to prepare for.
You bet. Again, the U.S. can print dollars, but eventually it's going to weaken their currency and bring on massive inflation. Again, all they seem to do at this point here, because they have the capabilities of doing it, is, as we said before, kicking the can down the road. They're just going to hold on long enough and hope that something breaks in the economy that's going to get rid of these negative situations that are going to impact the U.S. down the road. But again, over the shorter term, we know that they can always go back to QE 2 or 3 or whatever, print money, and get back on track, at least for the short term. And again, that's what they've been doing. And again, that's what we're eventually going to pay for.
Our featured diamond from rarecoloreddiamonds.com is a 1.03 carat paracut fancy orangey pink VS2 Argyle. See it at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. And get our report from Clive Mond. Harold has been saying it for a while. Canadians switch out of Canadian dollars into U.S. dollars now. Get it by calling 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And we'll talk about a blue diamond that sold for $31.8 million. Right after the break is the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping on April the 8th, 2016. Our time is 9:08 Mountain. Radio show runs on 6:30 CHED in Edmonton, Sunday afternoon at 3. We have a podcast through iTunes. We go on your portable device, anywhere you do. Type in the World Financial Report on radio. Subscribe. There we are. As well, the shows are archived on Harold's two websites, HESradio.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, streaming 24/7 for your convenience. We're also on Tuned In app, and we have a connection to you via YouTube as well. We have our own YouTube page, and you can listen to the shows there. Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. Our featured diamond of the week is a 1.03 carat pear cut fancy orange pink VS2 Argyle. And Harold, this is a beauty. It's a big, big diamond for an Argyle because, as you usually tell us, Normally, argyles are less than half a carat. This is over a carat, and what a beautiful diamond it is.
It certainly is. The color, orangey pink, is just outstanding. In fact, if you look at past auction results, the fact is that the orangey pinks have been selling for a fortune, and we are really, really happy with that. But the fact is that when you really think about it, to get orange and pink together in a diamond is extremely, extremely rare, because what turns a diamond orange is nitrogen, and nobody really knows what turns a diamond pink. So the fact is that there has to be nitrogen in the ground, and it's nitrogen that really turns a yellow diamond yellow and an orange diamond orange. So orange diamonds are amongst the rarest diamonds in the world. We've been cutting and polishing some orange and greens diamonds lately, and what you're going to find is that where blues have taken off and gone absolutely ballistic. I mean, back in 2005, you could have bought a vivid blue diamond of high quality for about $200,000 a carat. Now there's vivid blue diamonds selling for $4 million a carat, and that's only 10, 11 years later. That shows you how rare those type of diamonds are. We're going to see a similar situation, in my opinion, with pink diamonds in about 4 to 5 years when the Argyle mine closes. The Argyle mine, as most of us know, produces 95% of the pinks, and depending on the saturation and the size and the color of the diamond, some of those diamonds can shoot up substantially, and we're very, very excited about the next 4 to 5 years in the pink diamond market. We recommend investments in Argyle pink diamonds as one of the best investments you could make. But the most up-and-coming diamonds coming up are the oranges and the greens. We've invested very, very heavily in them. We've been mining green diamonds, mostly coming from South and Central America, and orange diamonds. They're so rare and so beautiful. And the fact is that they are going to skyrocket in price. One of the best investments you could make to get in on a ground floor today is to get involved in orange and green diamonds. We believe they're the next blues and pinks. So, again, the featured diamond is outstanding. Our Argyle pinks that are on our website are spectacular. We got about 5 or 6 new vivid Argyle pink diamonds in, which is the highest saturation and the most valuable of all pinks. And again, soon we'll be bringing to you some cut and polished green and orange diamonds that over time will make our clients an absolute fortune. Again, we're just ecstatic, Randy, about what's happening in the market right now.
So see this diamond at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Featured diamond of the week, a 1.03 carat paracut fancy orange pink VS2 Argyle. rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. And as promised, the big news: flawless blue diamond sells for $31.8 million. Record Asian auction price. An internally flawless vivid blue 10.10 carat oval diamond smashed auction records on Tuesday when it was sold for $31.8 million at Sotheby's. Now, next week in our free weekly newsletter, we will have more auction results for you, but we were just overwhelmed this week with news, so we'll run down all the auction results next week. The highest price paid for a gemstone at auction in Asia. The previous record for a jewel in Asia was $30.6 million for an oval-shaped 18.28 carat D-color flawless diamond sold by Sotheby's Hong Kong in October 2013. An anonymous telephone bidder purchased the jewel at Sotheby's spring sales in the auction that lasted about, minutes. It went very, very quickly. Few gemstones have ever been sold for more than that, and it's setting record prices here in Asia for a gemstone in auction, according to David Bennett. He's Sotheby's worldwide chairman for international jewelry. He added that the economic downturn in China has not had any immediate impact on the Asian jewelry market. The diamond known as the De Beers Millennium Jewel 4 was mined in South Africa. It's the largest diamond of its kind to appear at auction. It was one of 12 in De Beers Millennium Jewels collection that was unveiled in the year 2000 in London. The world auction record for a diamond or gemstone was set in Geneva last November when a 12.03 carat cushion-shaped, internally flawless blue diamond sold for $48.5 million. And it should be noted that the sale came hours after a scroll painted by a Chinese master Zhang sold for a record-breaking Hong Kong price of $35.93 million. It was snapped up by a Chinese collector who put it in his own personal museum. But Harold, what an incredible price. And good news, we talked about it on past shows. We have 2 more blue diamonds yet to come. Christie's scheduled an auction for a 14.62 carat Oppenheimer blue in Geneva, May 18. Estimated price, $38 to $45. And a Cushion 9.54 carat fancy deep blue VVS2 diamond ring, once belonging to Shirley Temple, could fetch anywhere from $25 to $35 million at Sotheby's in New York on April 19. So April 19 and May 18, those are going to be 2 big dates on the calendar. But wait, there's more. Large, vivid pink diamond expected to fetch millions at auction. A rare pink-shaped, vivid pink diamond will go under the hammer in Geneva next month, where auctioneers expected to fetch $38 million. It's the unique pink, described by Sotheby's as a supremely rare and exceptional diamond weighing 15.38 carats. And we have an article, it's in our free weekly newsletter, get it, from the Financial Times this week. Colored diamonds are an auctioneer's best friend. Probably better put, an investor's best friend. But this is a must-read article from the Financial Times. Colored diamonds are an auctioneer's best friend. Harold, you know, I just love doing our radio show, and over the last 11 years, educating people about investing in diamonds. And here we are 10 years on, and we see these auction results. We see the excitement surrounding diamonds. RareColoredDiamonds.com, your website, was at the forefront of bringing this investment to us. And we're seeing the fruits of that labor come forward, and people are benefiting from it. Last week we had that story about a couple in Florida. They purchased a pink diamond, and in under 10 years it was up over 500%. What an exciting time for colored diamonds.
You bet it is, Randy, and I think the best is yet to come, because the more the markets around the world get to be the way they are, as risky as they are, as volatile, and nobody making money, eventually people are going to look at alternative investments. It's something that we've been involved in for a long time, and we're really the forerunners in it, and really brought it to everybody's attention. I mean, nobody even knew that blue diamonds existed, and now look what's happening with blue diamonds. Now, again, we're going to have to see what the results are from pinks, but there's no doubt in my mind what's going to happen with pink diamonds once the mine closes. The prices are going to skyrocket, and we're ecstatic about that, because that's something that, with my commodity background, you know, is something that we identified about 10 years ago, when nobody even was talking about diamonds like this as investments, and nobody knew that the Argyle mine was going to close. So I'm just ecstatic that this is happening. I'm ecstatic for our clients. Nobody wants our clients to do better than you and I. So again, Randy, we love our clients. We love the listeners. The show has been on, you know, for going on 16 years now. And again, I think that we've done well for our clients, and the best is by far yet to come. Again, we've talked about in the first half of the show about converting Canadian dollars to American dollars. Now is definitely the time to do that. It's imperative that the timing is right for you. And again, I believe that the Canadian dollar has topped out, the U.S. dollar has bottomed, and you're going to see a big reversal. We're very strongly recommending getting out of Canadian dollars and get them into U.S.-based investments. And I've got phenomenal investments for you. I've got investments that will make you 25% a year or more in U.S. dollars, and you're going to do extremely well with us. So please give me a call, and I'll show you exactly what to do, and let you know whether this is suitable for you or not. So we're very, very excited about this, Randy.
Get our newsletter this week. Read over the diamond section. This has some of the best material we've had all year long. We went through January, February, and it was pretty quiet, but come March, we were just inundated with strong information on diamonds, and we have them in our free weekly newsletter. Get them through Harold. Connect with him at RareColoredDiamonds.com. 1-800-432-1022. See our featured diamond of the week. And this is one of those diamonds that worldwide would be considered a museum piece because of its rarity. A 1.03 carat paracut fancy orangey pink VS2 Argyle. RareColoredDiamonds.com or give Harold a call, 1-800-432-1022. It's interesting to note Jim Rickards, who actually is one of those people we keep track of because he is really an advocate for hard assets. He's written books, The Death of Money, Currency Wars. His new book is The New Case for Gold, and it came out during the week. And it was interesting because he mentions, Harold, investing in gold, and this would be the same for diamonds. You can't hack it. You can't erase it. You can't delete it. And in a world today where obviously there's a lot of cyber criminality going on, that is getting to be a big problem. Obviously, we saw with the Panama Papers and WikiLeaks and the United States being attacked by Japan cyberly. And obviously, we know all the cyber warfare that's going on secretly that we're unaware of. But when it comes to your investments, you want something that obviously you can hold in your hand. You can't hack it, erase it, or delete it. And when I saw that, I thought, oh, yes, that's diamonds in a nutshell. And in the environment we live in today, that is so important.
It certainly is, especially since after 2008 and 9, we saw stocks go to zero. We saw General Motors and all the insurance companies and the banks and everything during that time. And that's a frightening thing because most people don't view the stock market as a speculative environment to trade in. They think that it's a safe place to put your money, and over a longer period of time, if you put your money away, that you're going to be able to retire comfortably. That may have happened 50 years ago, but it's not the case anymore. The fact is that 90% of the people that invest in stocks lose their money. So why in the world would we want to do that? Just because a financial advisor tells you to do that? I can pretty well assure you that in most cases, if you follow your financial advisor home, you're going to be shocked as to how that person lives. He may not have as much money as you, drive as nice a car as you, or live in a nicer home than you. But the fact is that he's handling your money. So the fact is that most people that invest in stocks lose. In actual fact, I can comfortably say that with most Canadians, their retirement savings plans over the last decade, everybody's losing. So why in the world put our money in that investment? Why, when the time of the year comes to put your money into retirement savings plans, do people even look at that as an investment anymore? Because the idea behind it is, what the government saw was that we'll allow people to invest money and not pay taxes on it till they've made a lot of money and want to cash out of their retirement savings plan. And in theory, that sounded great, but it's not working because it only works if you're making money, and nobody's making money in stocks. So the fact is you put away money for your retirement and you're going to close it out, you're going to either lose money or break even, then you have to pay your taxes. You could have invested that money elsewhere and done much, much better. In fact, we have investments that are doing way better than the stock markets or any investments are doing, and they're all in U.S. dollars. So, again, give me a call. First of all, I will send you that article from Clive Mond, and he's in total agreement with me as to what's happening in the marketplace. And if we're right and you're the opposite to what we are, that's not a good situation for you. And again, the reason for the radio show is for our Canadian clients to do well, not to do poorly. So again, we've been doing tremendously well. Our investments are in U.S.-based investments, and you're going to get a great opportunity now to convert Canadian dollars at their high, put them into U.S. dollars at their low, and watch the U.S. dollar skyrocket, along with our investments that are making over 25% a year. So again, if this intrigues you, give me a call. The information is free. My time is free. And again, all I want is for our listeners and our clients to do well during these very difficult and trying times.
And today, as we tape the program, due to the good Canadian jobs numbers, Canadian dollar up a penny against the U.S. dollar, up to 77 cents. Connect with Harold at RareColoredDiamonds.com. rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Speak with him personally, privately, about investing in hard assets. 1-800-432-1022. Our featured diamond of the week is a 1.03 carat paracut fancy orangey pink VS2 Argyle. See it online, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Get our free weekly newsletter from Herald. We have an article from the Financial Times, Colored Diamonds or an Auctioneer's Best Friend. And they talk about the unique pink, which we spoke about, coming up for auction. Also the Blue Moon of Josephine, that diamond that sold last year in November for $48.5 million. The Graph Pink, they speak about that. Pink diamonds are the most sought after, with only one stone in every 10,000 mined displaying any form of color. According to the Fancy Color Research Foundation, since the nonprofit organization started its price index in January 2005, pink diamonds have risen in value by more than 350%. We had that story last week about a couple in Florida. They had purchased a pink diamond in 2007, and in less than 10 years, the diamond was up 500%. Now, by comparison, gold has risen by just over 160% and the S&P 500 by 66%. People are aware that pink diamonds are an amazing investment, said Eden Rachmaninoff, a diamond specialist and author of the Fancy Colored Diamond book. Stones like this come to the market every once in a few years, and many wealthy people are looking for something unique, and that's why the price is going up all the time. Blue and yellow diamonds have been equally successful at auction as an investment. Over the 11-year period tracked by the FRCF, they have risen in value 180% and 54% respectively. There's a lake of cash around at the moment, said David Bennett, worldwide chairman of Sotheby's International Jewelry Division. When someone sees a vivid pink or vivid blue, they are generally in awe of it, and it becomes an object of desire. And Harold, obviously, people like the object of desire, but they also like the investment aspect, as we were talking about a pink diamond in less than 10 years, up 500%.
You better believe it, Randy. Again, that doesn't happen in any other market unless it's totally speculative, and trading in diamonds is not speculative. It's just the fact that when you buy quality, you're going to get money back, big time in the future. Now, again, also understand that these are not short-term investments. You don't buy a diamond and sell it in a few years. It doesn't have enough time to gain value. It's a long-term investment. In actual fact, I look at diamonds as a long-term investment like a retirement savings plan, except what happens in your retirement savings plans now with your stocks, where you're losing your money, will not happen with the diamond. The longer you hold it, the more and more it will go up in value. So again, we very strongly recommend at this point that you look at diamonds as an alternative asset to investments like stocks, bonds, certain commodities, and that type of thing. So again, we're just ecstatic about what's happening at this point. We see it getting stronger and stronger, and we just want our clients invested in these markets so you could do well also. Again, it's a very important time and a great time to switch from Canadian to U.S. dollars.
1-800-432-1022. Get that article from Herald. It's in our newsletter. Clive Mond, Canadians switch out of Canadian dollars into U.S. dollars. Do it now. Canadians switch out of Canadian dollars into U.S. dollars. Get that article from Herald. Clive Mond verifying what Herald has said for quite some time. 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Our featured diamond of the week is a 1.03 carat paracut fancy orange pink VS2 Argyle. It's an orangey pink. See it. Featured diamond of the week, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And one of the reasons we want to invest in hard assets is the money that we earned is constantly being debased by inflation. And with the printing presses of around the world going like mad because of currency wars, you're seeing that the money that you have is not going as far as it used to. And Bill Bonner this week actually had an excellent analogy. He said in 1976, that truck, the Super Cab model, had a manufacturer's suggested retail price of $4,600. That's when the average working person was earning $9,300 a year. So it took 25 weeks of work to pay for that truck. Today, the F-150 is still preferred by the average working man, and today it has an MSRP of $26,600 or 5.7 times as much. But the average person doesn't earn 5.7 times as much. The median wage today is $43,600. So now a person earning the median wage has to work 30 weeks to pay for the truck. This man is not better off. He is worse off. And that's one of the things, Harold, that we're trying to combat by investing in hard assets, having an insurance policy in your portfolio. But due to what's going on with financial repression, interest rates, negative interest rates, cashless society, the average person not getting raises, losing their job, going through the boom and bust of the tech boom and bust in 2000, then obviously a big pullback in the stock market, and then we had the financial crisis. The average everyday person, it has been very difficult to get by. And we believe that the inflation numbers were given not accurate. So it's a very, very difficult time. And we believe by investing in an alternative way, in alternative assets like diamonds, gold, and silver, it will give you a leg up on the competition and give you a chance to retire, hopefully, in comfort. We have about 3 minutes left here, Harold.
Well, that's the idea behind it, Randy. Again, the idea is to make sound investments. And again, most investments today are speculative because, again, everything is volatile. There's no direction to the markets, and if you don't know what to look at, I know a lot of people. I probably had 100 phone calls from clients that asked me if now is the time to get into gold. And again, when you see a $250 increase or a $200 increase in a commodity in a short period of time, that's normally a sign that we're back into a major bull market. Problem is that we're not at that point, and you've got to be able to read the Commitment of Traders report in order to understand, again, what's happening in the marketplace. And again, that's my job, is to read and understand the markets, get the information to our clients so they can make an informed and intelligent decision. And again, we try to get that information to you, obviously on a timely manner. So again, at this particular point, just to reiterate, gold's going to drop, the Canadian dollar's going to drop, the get into U.S. dollar-based investments with us. Our clients are doing extremely well. Watch for the Canadian dollar to fall substantially. Now is a good time to trade Canadian dollars for U.S.-based dollars. And again, we're going to make a ton of money in that trade.
Keep in mind, and this is what we were talking about earlier, the recommendation of Jim Rickards. You can't hack it, erase it, or delete it. Hard assets, diamonds, gold, and silver. One of the reasons you want to invest in hard assets. And we know in the past, Rick Rule has said, invest in things governments can't print. They cannot print hard assets, diamonds, gold, and silver. Our featured diamond of the week is a 1.03 carat Paracut Fancy Orangey Pink VS2 Argyle. See it online at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Featured diamond of the week. Take time out. Give Harold Siegel a call. He has a generous offer on the table at all times. You can speak with him personally and privately, and he will be more than happy to educate you about what he's spoken about in the past in Clyde Bond verifying this week. Canadians switch out of Canadian dollars into U.S. dollars now. We'll send that article to you. Speak with Harold about it. 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And Harold, thank you for another very important show and your knowledge. It was a great week for diamonds. That big blue selling for $31.8 million, and more blues and pinks to sell in the weeks ahead. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.